my dream job. The first job I got without a temp agency. This is one of my favorite videos that I was saying for season 1 that literally was heavily awaited for season 2. This job explains a whole lot. So if you go back to Dark Game Chapter 2, the results of my training, this is the job I'm talking about. So this is when I become equivalent shinobi to the fullest. So this is actually a very complex story. Aside from the setting of where it takes place at, this is actually a very unique story about Lily. One of the best times of my life, but it also shows you, Lily, the truth behind how people work, the truth how girls work, the truth behind, how bisexual is created, but the truth behind, there's something self-explanatory about the situation that you should stay away from, and you shouldn't really, put yourself in that predicament. Sometimes, moving on is for the better. Sometimes separating yourself from people is for their both own good. That's what I learned from this job. I learned that it's both, my fault and their fault, that literally the fact that I ended up having a complex situation, but having to simplify by the main fact that, I need to move on to bigger and better things, is what this job partially told me. The meaning behind this video has a lot to do with my character development, but how society kept on comparing me to other people, and how they kept on comparing me to people who already graduated college. But at the same time, it also shows you how I had to have my cake and eat it too, and how you guys are full of shit. And what I mean by it was both of our fault, that means is I couldn't work there because I was too handsome of a fellow, and that causes drama. So that's literally the basis of this video. But I learned that you shouldn't put yourself into certain situations where it's going to drag on. So sometimes you have to make a logical decision and make everybody happy. And this is literally one of the most heavily awaited videos of season 2. So how did this all start? What happened was this. It was 2017 turning into 18. So literally around 18 time, I got into a fight with my older brother, and literally he was leaking everywhere, but he had the excuse to say, well, you still don't have jobs and you still don't go to school. It's because you lost your temper is the reason why I have those things and you don't, even though he's the one who started the shit. I didn't know how to come back at the time, but what he did was he tried to literally compare me to something out of context. You disrespected me and I did something about it, and you tried to blame my personal life. So you know what God did? God gave me one opportunity to prove him wrong, and it showed me why it wasn't worth it. So what happened was, I wasn't allowed to hang out with my mom for a while because I kept on getting into fights with my brother. So what happened was this. So literally, I was separated for a while, and that's when I landed my first job. What happened is I had to network around. I had to ask people. I had to panhandle and ask, do you know I can get a job? I had to do a whole lot of shit. So how I got the job was really through grinding and struggling. I kept on asking this guy. I kept on asking that guy. It was crazy. So what happened was this. So literally, I went to Al. If you guys don't know who Al is, Al used to make my t-shirts, and I asked him if there's a job at the mall that I could use. And I was already buying shit at the mall at the time, so it was very convenient. So I started working at the same mall I buy t-shirts from. It was a very interesting story. So literally, he's like, oh, go try this Chuck E. Cheese place. So literally, what happened was this. So I went there, and they're actually very accepting. There was a whole lot of black people who worked there. So literally, what happened was this. So I got the confirmation from the interview. So literally, they told me I was actually gonna have a second interview, and they told me I was gonna get tested. And this was a really fun time. What happened is this. Is literally, I trained for literally 2 weeks in order to get this job. I stopped smoking, and I bought my own detox and did everything. I did it all on my own, literally, from the dollar store, literally, freaking grinding, doing everything I needed to do for this job, and literally, I got the job, and I felt so fucking happy. It was like watching a freaking anime, literally, fucking, my brother talked all that shit, and then I finally got the proven wrong at a really good corporate job, that literally, and everybody was like, see, all you had to do was get your hands a little bit dirty. It had nothing to do with that. It had a lot to do with me being black and the connections. Notice how I did all that work, but at the end of the day, it came down to a connection. Who did I ask? Al. So literally, you have to understand that. That's why I learned a lot about life. But that doesn't mean that the work falls flat. That means the work is incorporated into the meeting. That means I had to put the work in to get the job, but in reality, that was out of context, but that definitely was necessary to let you know the mindset that you have to have. The work was necessary for the mindset in order to get it, because once I realized how hard I worked for it, that was the longest job I've ever kept. And that was for a very good reason. It had very repetitious mode of operating, and that's what made it really easier for me. I used to be a dishwasher for Boy Scouts for a whole lot of time, and literally, I said that in an interview. So this is how I learned how to talk to an interview. So literally, I got in an interview, and it was for a pizza place that we work for children, and we have arcades, we literally personal pizza makers, literally. So I was a dishwasher, and I told him that I used to do dishwashing at Boy Scouts, and literally, so I also told him that literally, so it's like, so what do you like about our pizza company? I'm like, I love pizza. So I got it, and it was actually a really fun experience. And so literally I passed the drug test, I did everything I could, and literally I got home, and literally I was afraid to smoke because I already got cleared, but I was so fucking paranoid until it was 100% definite. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna smoke until I get the first day of the job. And literally it was the last episode of fucking Super 2. It was the last episode of Dragon Ball Super. It was literally where Frieza came back with literally freaking Goku versus freaking Ultra Instinct versus Jiren and shit. And I had to get high right before that. And I was paranoid, but I still got the job. That's a little bit of personal things, you know. I believe in jinxing, so literally I don't really speak on things until they're concrete. So I get the job, and it's right up my alley. I'm cleaning the dishes spotless. I'm doing this and that, and I'm learning a whole lot about life. So one thing I have to state that this job had a lot of girls. A lot of girls. And this is a very complex story. And the reason why it was a complex story is because literally when I got there, I started macking on all the girls. I was living a life I couldn't live in high school. I was literally freaking 18-year-olds, literally fresh as fuck, literally all over me, literally always trying to get me and make a move. And literally I kept on focusing on my work, and literally I'll make a move a little bit to let them know I'm interested, and then I'll get right back to work, and they thought that was so sexy. So there was this cool ass guy named Aziz. He was hella fucking dope, and literally he cussed, he did every fucking thing. He sounded just like my fucking brother. I showed up to work high one time, and he's like he's like, are you high right now? I'm like, no, I was tired because I was watching Infinity War last night. He's like, you expect me to believe that shit? And then he passed me some bread. He's like, sober up. It was a hella dope job. There was this older guy named Robert Lilly. I was talking to him, OG Lilly, Latin OG Lilly, freaking. It's like, every single time I talked to him, he was talking about rim and ass. It was fucking funny because I look hella good at the job. And he's like, man, I used to tear shit up back in your day. So I asked him a question like, you know any good drive-in movie theaters? And he's like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was the time where I rimmed it the most. I love Robert. That shit was so funny. That job was the motherfucking shit. So let me get into a little bit elaborate. This video should be no more than 30 minutes. Only because I'm making a very good introduction for a good reason. You know, there was a rise and fall and rise again where it came to real life that happened to the job. So literally what happened was this. So literally it all happened at the same time because the freshman year in high school went like this. They came from me being one of the best turf dancers in school, literally talking to Arturo, learning literally that there are more people that smoke weed and watch anime. And then it came down to Naruto vs. Pain also happened in my freshman year. So literally my freshman year was very lit because literally it wasn't just good for me socially, it was good for me watching anime. It was a great time that anime came out. So literally my freshman year is literally why I based flight school off of my freshman year. Like, what if my success in freshman year never faded? And that is why flight school was created. So when I went to this job, literally 3 months in, I was watching the Boruto episode with Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki at my freaking job. I got to come home and watch that crazy ass shit. Yeah, that was very rewarding. So that was all time. That's freshman year of flight school versus freshman year in high school. It's literally so freaking connected. It wasn't even funny. It's like deja vu. That's why I made flight school, because I had the opportunity. And just like freshman year, I was knocking on multiple girls in my job. This job literally defined freshman year in flight school because of how many girls I was pulling. So there was this girl, and she had a sister, and so I hit on her sister, and she was sitting down, right? And so I'm like, you're hiding something, huh? And she's like, what? He's like, you're hiding something on those jeans. He's like, huh? I'm like, money. Where is my money? And she literally started rolling, and literally one of the managers even started imitating me. And so literally, one girl was out eating her fucking lunch. She had her purse out, and so he's all like, what are you doing with my money? That nigga was so fucking funny. It was crazy. So there's a lot of things that happen with a job. I actually got offered overtime at the job. Now one time we were playing cartoon theme songs, and somebody played the Pokemon theme song. Now I'm not that heavy in the Pokemon, but I thought that was hella fucking funny because that theme song go hard, and we were singing that shit in harmony. They weren't asked me. I asked him to play Yu-Gi-Oh! GX theme song. He said no. Yeah, Lily. So he got mad, but Lily, they started singing the Pokemon theme song. And Lily, that's what inspired to make Michael Jackson sings the Pokemon theme song on my channel. If you go check my channel on my older, go back to 2018 in my channel, and you see Michael Jackson sings the Pokemon theme song. I got that idea from my job. There's a lot of things that happened at this job that really made it a fun year. The money I got for this job is literally the reason why I got to go to FanBase 2018. Yes, I did that with my own paycheck. I loved it. It was the first time me having a paycheck. There was so many monumental moments. If you know about my Raven Justice series on my channel, I'm going to be uploading a little bit of a montage of Raven Justice and what it was all about and why it was so dope. What I would do is I would use Raven from the Teen Titans, and I would choose Raven Justice as a singer. So Raven Justice is a singer in the Bay Area, and Lily, my outfit was purple too. So Lily, I had a purple uniform while I was listening to Raven Justice, and it was really, really dope. So it was the first job, and it was so fucking crazy because I had fan base for doing A and B's for rappers. So Lily, they kept on following me while I had the job. So it was really, really, really fucking official. Like, but nothing changed. Nothing changed on the inside, but Lily, I kept it consistent on the outside. If you know Cuban Doll kept up with me the whole time. Yes, I network with actual celebrities, but it ain't shit. Because what they do is they train you to get on paper, but if you do one mistake, it's like one step forward and 10 steps back. So Lily, that's Lily what we have, but there's also those other like inner conflicts that I can't speak of. But Lily, what she did was she kept an eye on me, and Lily, everything was the same at the group home. I just had a job, and it was actually beautiful because we got to see me actually working, and so like I got to prove a lot of people in society wrong. But the main part about that is literally the first time I got my check, I was listening to Raven Justice Don't Matter. If you don't know the cover of Raven Justice Don't Matter, it has an emoji, and that emoji means that it was a shout out to Mood Tricks, because literally they were saying bitches talking shit and it don't matter. It literally, because literally that was what I was doing. Bitches were talking shit to me on Snapchat saying that I was broke, when really they wanted me, and he made that song about me. There was so much shit. Literally, I was listening to that song when I got my first check, and it was literally like watching an anime. Like, yeah, Eris, you did it. So on to the main part of this video, the girls. I got Earl, the girls. Literally, it was so crazy. I was the guy that I wasn't in high school, and I was pulling all the girls that were 17 turning 18, and it was beautiful. I was pulling punch sign after punch sign after punch sign. Literally, there was this one time when this other girl was literally at another region for the job. She came from like the same job but in a different city. She came for a substitute day, and Lily, I got her, and Lily, it was crazy because the high school games didn't work anymore. So Lily, she got my attention. She was throwing it back. She was trying to make me, Lily, give it to the face. Lily, there was this guy over that happened to be her boyfriend. So Lily, I tried talking to her after she curved me, so she was playing games, and so this guy vouched for her. He's all like, he has a boyfriend, bro. And I'm like, oh, really? And so I shake his hand. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? It was so fucking funny. Like, literally anything. They got hella bad because they thought they had it in the bag. He's like, oh, what? He misses the boyfriend. It's over. But then I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? I didn't know that was actually you, Lil Lily. And then I start Lily. I twist the conversation. She starts dying immediately when I say that. And Lily, I'm all like, so how long have you been working here? Talking to the dude, and she's like, 2 years. And Lily, we fucking thought it was some top class player shit. And Lily, everybody knew me at the job. But that's when they started plotting. Girls were twerking on me. Girls were begging me over and over again. There was this one girl who literally had a boyfriend who literally freaking greeted me every fucking morning, literally. And he kept on trying to check me, like, what's this about you talking to your girl? So that, because he kept on making moves, he kept on telling me it was okay, but her boyfriend kept on getting ready. So I started keeping distant, and I'm all like, nope, I wasn't doing that. And like, Lily, there was this time when Lily, they separated themselves from each other like a week. I didn't see them talking to each other. So Lily, he's like, what's this about you trying to get at my girl and stop? I'm like, I didn't know you were still together. And I didn't budge, I didn't do anything. Even though this guy was hella fucking strong, I could tell he did boxing, but he was a high schooler, and he did wrestling, and he went to my old high school. So literally, his girlfriend was hitting on me, and I kept it cool. If you want to know an Easter egg, a very heavy Easter egg, this job is very monumental more than you think it is. So like, there was this girl at my job who literally tried to get my number and contact me. I'm like, nope, because if I try to get the number, she can play the whole boyfriend shit, so I have to play it cool. So literally, what I did was I got her Instagram, but I couldn't tap it on my phone because people were hacking me. So literally, it was slow, and I could tell that people were hacking me while I was asking for the IG. So I'm like, my phone is so primitive. And if you don't know, that's how you get literally a girl aroused you. And literally, that is why we have the skateboard company Primitive. Yes, it was based on that one punch sign that I used that girl at my job. You wondering why they have motherfucking Frieza skateboards is because I whispered in a girl's ear and I said primitive. Girls are really a fan of wise choice when it comes to words and multi-syllabic ability. So if you're wondering why, that's the reason. I'm sorry, there's no other reason why you see all this primitive gear. I'm the one who fed that, and that is what you call word of mouth to its fullest. Once again, it took a long time for it to load up on my phone, so Lily, she was wondering why it took so long. I'm like, my shit is so primitive. Lily, her face got red and everything, started pulling her hair. So I got to use all the tricks that from the group home, and Lily, me and God had this conversation. So that's is Eris off the time skip. This is literally, it was literally just like watching anime. I got to be everything I could in high school, but then the devil was there because they were young girls, and young girls are really, really easy to fool, but that wasn't the case because I was having fun. And Lily, freaking crazy. So Lily, it was like this. I knew how to be a cool kid, and that same girl, Lily, I'm like, hey, why are you acting shady? She's like, my bad, Lily. So I get a lighter because we have to light birthday candles, and I was smoking weed at the time, so I just happened to have a lighter. So Lily, I flicked the lighter while I'm saying, okay, keep it lit. At the same time when it's already lit. And they got mad because that's what shit you do in high school. That's some shit where you show off, and Lily, where you have tons of fucking ammo. And Lily, I was doing asshole shit like Lily, you do in high school. Like Lily, freaking like, we're be carrying dishes, Lily, the girl right next to me. I'd be like, move your ass. Lily, I was a top class player, and Lily, everybody fucking hated me. And I love that shit, but not only was I a top class player, I was a SpongeBob of work. I was Aziz's best student, and he loved me. He's like, booty, shake that booty. It was really, 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 really crazy. I was one of his favorite students. He always like vouched for me. Like I was showing up late a whole bunch of times because I didn't have a car, and due to their schedule, so Lily, it went like this. He's all like, Moody, if you keep on showing late, I'm gonna take you, I'm gonna put you in the bathroom, and we're gonna have a conversation. That was hella fucking funny. The macking was great. So Lily, there was this one time with Lily, I showed up to Lily freaking the meeting, got my job, Lily. Kind of an anniversary, like Lily, cover up on what we've done this year. So Lily, I'm all turquoise now. I have a turquoise polo. I have Lily a turquoise hat. I'm all prepared for the job, and Lily. So Lily, I showed up to the meeting early and shit, and Lily, it was crazy. So this girl tried to get me like, you look like a crayon, because I was all matching. I'm like, you look like a pretzel because she was black and she had Lily spots all over me. So Lily, I said this, you look like a pretzel. She's like, that don't even make fucking sense. And Lily, all the successful girls, all this and that. And so Lily, but the devil was in my ear because I was 23 and I was hitting on 18-year-olds. And Lily, the devil got in my ear at the job, Lily. She's like, yeah, you know what you're like in high school. You knew you couldn't get no play in high school. You wouldn't dare do that to a girl your age, because then you'd have to face hypergamy. But then I laughed at them because Big Town was going on at the time. I'm like, so, I'm going to give every girl my age that's all used up, huh? And I started laughing at the devil. There was this one time when me and the devil had a debate again. So basically, Lily, it was shitty times like where fucking like G-Eazy Lily had his song out. Lily, Motorsport, Lily is a lost cause. So I kept on playing classes like Make Me Better, Fabulous Neo. I kept on playing hella good shit like Lily, Wake It Up, E40, Lily. And I couldn't like Lily pick a more recent song because all the music sucked. And he kept on getting at me, oh, is it new? Oh, is this song new? And Lily freaking the devil trying to get me again at the moment. He's all like, oh, stop dwelling in the past. I'm like, nope, music is shitty nowadays. And I was killing it song after song after song after song where we had song selections. I even chose a song for freshman year. New Boys, Tie Me Down. It was literally crazy. So, it was so crazy. So Lily, main shit about that is I saw all the leaks. I saw how crazy it was. So Lily, it got down to a point where they tried to set me up. And the main premise of the video all goes back to this black guy named Jordan, who was a redhead at the time. If you're a redhead, that means you're basically one step closer to being a manager. It goes red hat, Kage, and then manager. And what I mean by manager, I mean like assistant managers, like you're wearing black and everybody else is wearing colors. I was going really, really hard at that job, Lily. There was this one time while I was doing all the work by myself, and it was quite interesting because I still had the same lifestyle because I didn't really have a lot of friends. I was watching Devil Artemis every time during my break. Yes, I love Devil Artemis, and he helped me get past my shitty job because that was a bad job over time because the girls wanted me to face hypergamy eventually. Lily, they wanted me to go out and get friends, but they understood where I was at disadvantage. They even did bowling one time and they didn't invite me. This is how Lily people work. They take out what they can get at you and then they improvise for everything else. I understand. And Lily, they went bowling And Lily, I wasn't invited, but they're all over me, like Lily, when I'm on the job. So they wanted me to grind a little bit more in order to get the prizes. I'm like, nope, I'm staying where I'm at right now. And the other guys that Lily had the vibrant personality, Lily, were not getting it. I was getting what they were working for, but they were a little bit more elaborate. And what they were trying to do, they were showing off a little bit more, and they got no benefit out of it. So I'm telling you, let you know, I was an alpha among betas. I called myself moderator at the job because the beta males always try to bring me down, and I was outnumbered, but I kept on killing the beta males over and over and over again. This one time they made me do all the dishes by myself. Now, if you pay attention to the video, Robert drove me to the side. He's all like, I understand, man. They're making you do all the work, and he gave you a street code. That means you're the one getting pussy. You're the only one that's actually pulling. That's why they're being so hard on you. It has nothing to do with your work ethic. You are the best workers. And I love that job. And the reason why I was one of the best workers is because I was struggling at the group home, and they actually provide you food at the job. And it was beautiful. I got paid overtime. But it got down to a point where it literally, that job was becoming abusive. Like, the girls liked me, but they wanted me to play the little beta male game, but I couldn't do that. It was at the time when MGTOW was blowing up. At the time while I was listening to Karama MGTOW, I was listening to Karama on the bus, and literally, I was watching shit like, I watched Too Spooky one time at my job. And literally, it was fucking funny. You know how Too Spooky does his emphasis when he counts down? Like, number 4, number 3. I was showing literally Robert. He wanted to know what the fuck I was watching. This is a grown ass man that was just interested because I was a cool guy. So he was literally watching me watch anime videos on YouTube. And so literally, he heard Too Spooky say, number 3. He's like, ah! He said, number 3. It was hella fucking funny. Robert started rolling, and Robert gave me the nickname of Squirrel Boy at the job. So literally, he said, hey. He's like, what's up, Squirrel? Do you like pussy like that? Robert, I be rolling, and he even had to say, he does. And literally, that nigga was hella crazy. Robert was hella hard. And literally, there was this another guy. Let me get into the haymakers before we get to the conclusion. There was Furman, and there was Jordan. And then there was Terrell. Terrell was my best friend. Terrell was a black guy that was more whitewashed to be a little bit like 2 years younger that watched anime. Just like me, he was obsessed with anime. And then there was freaking Jamie, another guy at my job who literally reminded me of Jamie Foxx. Jamie was a curly haired Filipino guy that looked like he was black. That was my boss. He kept on watching Fairy Tail, and I kept on reminiscing about all the times with the Fairy Tail song. I'm not my prime now, literally freaking, I'm pulling all the girls, I feel really great, but I remember how it felt like to watch Fairy Tail stuff. And so literally, so Jamie kept on watching Fairy Tail while we were watching dishes, and literally, it was fucking crazy. Literally, he would put his phone literally right on top of literally, on like a square surface, and he would watch the dishes, and we would watch Fairy Tail every time. So it was a really, really good job. A whole lot of people like anime at the job, and everybody liked My Hero Academia. So the guy drove me to the side, and he said, so what is your quirk? And I'm all like, manipulation. I can make you do anything. And he's all like, oh. So there was this one time where literally this guy promised me a whole bucket of chicken, and literally freaking, and they dropped on the ground, and they said no, literally, because they were getting mad because I was pulling girls, but literally somebody promised me a bucket of chicken. So literally, I came back, and the same guy who asked me what his quirk was, I kept on complaining, like, where's my chicken? Where's my chicken? Where's my chicken? The SpongeBob's work was asking for his chicken. And so the guy was all like, Lily, oh, okay, well, you know, I gotta make sure you get your chicken to make sure you don't get into a situation. And if you don't know what that means he was referencing Deaf the Kid. That's Ralphie the Plug. When he said situation, that was no coincidence. It was funny, literally, I was singing one of the Fairy Tail openings because literally I was reminiscing because a lot of nostalgia came up. And literally I started singing the opening, and then Jamie's like, get back to work. So now that we got done with the comedy, let's get into the meat and grit about this job. I had to cut it short. There's a lot of things that happened in this job. So basically, as a recap, I was a great worker. I was a fine worker, and I didn't let go so easily because I worked so hard to get my own job. And literally, freaking, it was so crazy. That job was so fucking crazy. Literally, that's when Black Clover came out. Literally, with its third opening, I was rocking all that shit. So let me get down to the fundamentals of why this is hard and literally what it was all about. So basically, it was cool in the beginning, but the girls tried to make me face. The girls tried to make me face hypergamy. So what happened was this. So basically, they kept on trying to tempt me. And so literally, Aziz was really understanding because he could tell that they were on me first. So he had to make a plan. So Jordan was my other supervisor that was right below Jamie where it came up construction with dishwashing. And Jordan was a tall black guy, but he was whitewashing because they all come from the same area. They were whitewashed. They didn't really come from the hood, kind of like, you know, me per se. I only spent a limited time in the hood, but what I did was I didn't nerd shit. So it kind of made me a little bit more street smart because I had a little bit more tools to work with. So literally, Jordan got fired for sexual harassment, and they're gonna try to accuse me for the same thing, but I was too aware of them. They saw me on the defense too much, but they peer pressured me too much at the job. So they peer pressured me a lot to literally try to literally get in trouble with girls, but they kept on pursuing first. Literally, there were girls twerked on me. Girls always saying like, take the bait, take the bait, take the bait. It was really, really frustrating to a point where I was growing gray hair. Yes, that job was making me grow gray hair. It was 4 turning into 5 months. So I went to FAMA and literally, I knocked the girl at FAMA. Literally, I got a girl pregnant at a convention, and literally, that's when I just passed my probation period and I got hired for full time. And so what happened was this: I got hired for full time after Jordan got fired. My supervisor got fired, and literally, they were trying to say that I was next in line, but there was Terrell too. But they wanted me to act like Terrell because Terrell was literally choosing scenarios with no end result. And like, Terrell was an actual anime nerd, and I learned how to get pussy, but I value anime above pussy. So what happened was this: they tried to trap me in the corner. I was growing gray hair, and they weren't stopping too. Literally, I got it. There was this one time where I had an interview for another job because I was already aware of them. So there was an interview for a job that I was going to, and then Aziz called me out of nowhere. It's like, I need you to do overtime. And literally, I knew that was a setup, but because it came out of Aziz's mouth, I trusted him. So literally, I knew that they were trying to set me up and that I already had another job in line. So literally what happened was, I ditched that job. I went to go get my overtime, and I got so much fucking pay. I love that job and how much to pay. Literally, they were pressing me so much. There were getting times where I couldn't like keep up with them due to stress. And then I literally, after I got full time, is when they truly put in the work. So one more character, Furman. Furman looked like Finn from Adventure Time, and he let me know I am Finn from Adventure Time. No, literally, no, I'm speaking metaphorically. There was this guy named Furman, and then when I got to FanMade, there was this guy who literally cosplayed as Jake, letting me know that Furman said hi. This is a true fucking story. Literally, at FanMade, the guy who played Jake, literally, the guy who cosplayed as Jake, literally helped me out with chains. Literally, I just got done, literally, making out with my girl, and literally fucking, he's all like, I'll give you this one pass, player, and he said it the same way that Furman did. Now, Furman was hella fucking funny because he was trying to get that black girl, and he was pretending to, like, literally do a big area dance, and so he's literally, oh, I'm sorry, Randy, like, I can't hear you at the sound of my pin drop, and he pretends to dip on the ground, but he's literally pushing up against the wall. So literally, he dips on the ground and then he pushes himself up against the wall. Like, I can't really dip. And he said that to me. He's like, I know you're used to like people like Diamante. I know you're used to people showing off, but this is who we really are outside of all that. And Furman taught me that, and that was really crazy. So Furman was a very good person. He was jealous of me, but he admitted that he was jealous of me. There was this one time he tried to get me caught up at the job, but then afterwards he gave me a half blunt. He gave me. I'm like, why are you so nice to me, Lily? Because 2 girls got into a fight with me at the job, and he was mad at the time. He's like, so what'd you do this weekend? And I'm all like, bad. I'm like, how was your weekend? He's all like, it was horrible. I'm like, why? Did you have to do overtime? He's like, no, I just don't like weekends. And that was street code for the fact that 2 girls got into a fight at the job, and he was getting really, really heated. So that all was really piling up to why I had to make a smart decision. So really what's happening was they were kept on harassing me over and over again, trying to get me Lily in trouble. So after I passed my probation period, after they figured out I'm about to have the kid, they finally made the final plan to exit. So Aziz wasn't working that day, and that's when they planned to do all the harassment. So it started off with this guy, Lily, tempting this girl. Lily, do you know this girl? Like, this is her name, and she wants to add you on Snapchat. And Lily, what happened was, this is a girl who I was already macking on, who Lily was literally at the palm of my hands. So what happened was this. She was on her period. So they planned this day when she was on her period and Aziz wasn't working. So Aziz would have understood. So basically what happened was this. Aziz would have kept me on my guard, but they made sure they tipped me over and over and over again. My fucking pipe broke, Lily, at the same day. It was God telling me it's my time to go, but it was for a good reason. I was growing gray hair and they weren't stopping to try to exit this. So one more character that I have to add before we conclude this video. This is how heavy this job was. Is anybody a fan of Kevin? Kevin, the guy I met on the bus, we were talking about Super 17 back in the old Jiraiya movie, the short film edit. The guy that was crumping to rock music. I ended up working with Kevin, my long lost childhood friend. Yes, I ended up working on him, and he was better than ever. He was just as street smart as me, if not smarter. And he told me that he went to multiple group homes, that he literally was just as street smart as me, if not more. Literally, they asked him for a whole bunch of overtime, and so literally he's like, that paycheck, baby, that. And literally, and hip hop is the phone, and I loved Kevin. Kevin was so fucking raw when we went there. Kevin was so raw, it wasn't even funny. Kevin was already a higher rank than me when I went there. It was crazy. That nigga was so fucking crazy. I tried to tell him about One Piece, and he's like, them shits is too long. And literally, he was hella fucking cool. Yeah, we all grown a lot. But anyway, the Morrison's this video is literally fucking, it was crazy. They were kept on doing shit over and over again. And literally fucking, I kept on giving it to debate at the last day. So you know what God told me? This is something I didn't do in high school. I went out with a bang. Instead of saying fuck it, instead of throwing my shit, I went out with style. I'm like, okay, hold up. You guys have been hitting on me all this time. I'm going to take advantage of it for this one last day. And then I'm going to be like, nope, you are on me first. So that's what happened. So literally, what happened was this, literally fucking, these girls are doing this and that, and literally, even one girl twerked on me in the bathroom on camera, and she still didn't get in trouble, and that's what you call a pussy pass. And literally, fucking, they were twerking on me, they were trying to get me again in the bait, and so literally, they drove me to the side, literally. So, at the time where I'm not paying attention, at the time where I'm literally freaking, I'm not aware of what I'm doing because of how, literally, how stressed I am, but literally, I get back in. And so literally, they throw me to our office, and there was a substitute there because they planned it when she was on a period, and Aziz, the cool manager, wasn't there, so there was a substitute manager there, and so they thought their plan was bulletproof, and so the guy's like, so I hear you've been harassing girls. And so I come at him like this, I'm like, all good. And so he's like, no, Harris, it's not all good, literally, because he knows the full situation, he knows the full story, he knows that they were on me first. And you know, this and that, so literally, so he's like, well, you're suspended for a couple days. We have to do an evaluation. And so I'm like, oh, so will I just get fired? And he got hella mad. He's like, no, don't jump to conclusions, Harris. And so I'm like, so can I just quit? And so literally, I quit the job because they were on me first. And he's like, fuck. And literally, it was, they had, literally, I had tons of ammo on them because they were on me first. It was literally 90 to 10. So what happened was this. I made a lot of decisions. Don't think this is a reasonable decision. This is a good decision because you know what was also going through my head? If I would have stayed at the job, I would have kept on making people jealous and I would have kept on getting set up. So it was a universally good decision for me to leave that job. Don't think it's just me getting cocky, doing this and that. That's literally, I was actually looking out for everyone subconsciously. So literally, I'm growing gray hair. I'm making everybody jealous. It's time to go. And literally, he shook my hand. And literally, so I wasn't scared to go back to that job to get my final check. And so they actually offered me the job again. And so literally, I'm like, nope, because it's going to cause confusion, this and that. They were begging me back because you know what I had planned? I'm like, you know what? These girls are complaining about me doing this and that. Watch, when I leave, they're going to start fighting over me. And guess what happened? They started fighting over me. This is why they offered me a job again. I'm like, nope, I can't. This is a beautiful video, but it also shows you a whole lot about decision making. It shows you a whole lot about the full story in life of how literally how they were naive, but so was I. Literally, the devil did not get his last laugh, saying literally that literally I couldn't face hypergamy, this and that. I had no reason to face hypergamy, and literally they planted everything was a set. And so I learned like over time that it was the best decision because when you literally when people literally punch first and they expect you not to stick in the situation, when they try to trap you in a situation, that is literally the way you get good, because if your side stays consistent, that means they made a mistake. And it was a very fun job, but I had to understand that literally there was something wrong with that. That crazy with me literally not being able to face hypergamy is a big punch that you can try to get me on paper. But at the same time, when you understand my backstory, when you understand how hard I had it in high school, it's 100% appropriate. I didn't go out like a little bitch. I went out with a bang. I went out literally letting them know that, yeah, you like me, you're denial, this is your problem, and that's literally the best fucking note to leave on. And that literally was so fucking fire, literally. It was my first job, everybody criticized me, so now everybody knows the reason why I stay low key. It was because of that bullshit setup right there. But without further ado, this is the best job of my life, and this is one of my favorite videos of season 2.